Hello guys, Stephen here from Team GHQ, and I'm here with my Spike deck profile because people are being bad with the deck, so I'm going to do a good deck profile on it. Obviously start a Mecha Trainer because you can search for every grade 1 or less in the deck. You run it, stop being awful. Next we have triggers. Obviously 16 triggers, usual. And we start with 2 Devil Watch, stand trigger. You'd hardly ever use it for the stand ability unless you're being bad and calling cards to calling grade 2 cards early on before you stride, which you never do. You use it for the second skill, GB1. It has a charge ability, GB1, when it attacks or boosts. If it's charging, which it will be, can charge 1 and soul charge 1 and gain 7 for 3k. So it comes as 6, 7k attacker or booster, so that's good, and you'll fit 1. That's why you run 2 of it. Next we have 4 draw trigger. You only need 4 because you need the extra space for the stand trigger.
And he's moaning about draws.
Then we have 8, 6, 10, 12, yeah, 16. Then we run 6 crits, run 4 of the into soul, draw 1, helps early game and gets fab power, you need it. You do not need the unflip because you've got the stand trigger. So run 2 of the stand unflipper and 4 of the into soul. Bad people. Then 4 heals, because you'll need to heal, especially in spikes. Healing early game if your opponent rushes you helps a lot. Next we go into the grade 1s. 2 Nyan Rook, because it's 11k attacker if charging, GB1, and when it's put into deck from rearguard, you choose which one, you have rearguards and it gains 4k. You don't really use this effect that much. When the new Fighters Collection card comes out, I might put more of it in, but until now it's kind of dead, that's why I only run 2, but it's cute, that's why I run it. And there's no really other cards to put in. Next, 4 Perfect Guard, 2 Best P, because Perfect Guard you want to unflip, you don't run the charge one, because we're not running Hive Maker. You can run the Perfect Guard, the charge one, if you're running Hive Maker, but I'm not, so I'm running the counter charge one, because counter charging in spikes is very good. 4 Frog Raider, because we're good and we're playing Rising, so we need a restanding card to make a number of attacks very silly for columns, because this card stays on field, so you can keep giving boosts to him through Miracle Ace and stuff like that. So you can call him out with a stride break skill. It comes 12k booster then that can restand when you call a card with charge in its same column if you've got Rising name. So it's very silly for getting extra attacks. 4 Acrobat Verde, again, stride break. So you need it for striding, and again you run it because we're running Nova, so you run 4 of it. And again, trainer can search this out. This is so important. If you have a grade 3 which isn't Miracle A, that isn't Rising Nova, you can call this from hand, search Rising Nova, then you can use Trainer's ability to search for another copy of this. That's why you run Trainer, so you can get your strides off easily, or you can search for Perfect Guards. Stop being awful at games, people. Next grade 2 is 3 Heave Weaves, because we need other options and we run the grade 3 that charge, so we only need 3 of this card. And when it's charged, GB1 gains 10k, so it's 19k on its own. With the stride break, it's 24, so it's good. Numbers, and 19's even good, even without the extra price 5k. Then we run 4 Wink Killer Misery, because Cannon Blast 1, GB1, put a card from GB1, Cannon Blast 1, put a card from hand to soul. When it attacks a Vanguard, pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for a card not named itself, call it to an open rearguard, and it gains 5k to end a turn. Something you can do if you've got a Cannon Blast, if these 2 are in the same column, Devil Watch and Wink Killer, you can attack. If Devil Watch is charging, you can activate Devil Watch's skill first to counter charge and unflip 1. And then you've got the Counter Blast to activate Wink Killer's skill to Counter Blast 1 into Soul, search something. So that is it costs nothing essentially, and you're gaining the Soul, and then it's a 16k boost. It's a 16k column with Devil Watch's ability. That's why we run 4, because searching out the cards is really good. Then we run 4 Axe Diver. I'm still on the edge about this card. I might drop it down to 3, but if you've got a charge card, say Heave Wheeze in your hand, and you want to, you can call it out, and then if you've got your 7k booster, Frog Raider, on the same thing, you can just swing Vanguard for 16 from rearguard, then swing with Vanguard, use Stride Break skill to call this, use skill, Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, choose a card, as soon as I got Vanguard Rising, choose one of my other rearguards, so if I choose Heave Wheeze, it goes to the bind zone, then instantly comes back at stud, and charging, and because this card is charged, they both gain 5k, and because you've got the Frog Raider, it stands because that's now charging, so you get a third attack out, for just a Counter Blast and Soul Blast. So it's very useful, but I'm still debating whether to run 4 or 3. Next grade 3s. I will always run 1 copy of Skydiver. It always comes in handy. Ever since I got the deck, I've been running 1 copy of Skydiver all time. If you don't have another Spike Brothers, Vanguard or Rearguard, it gets minus 2k, but you're going to always have spikes. And put it into Soul when the attack hits from Rearguard. You pay the cost. If you do, choose a card from hand, call it to Rearguard. Very useful, just you can call it out with Stride Break against, it's a 16k swinger then, always swinging for Vanguard, and it's just extra pressure on hit, which is surprises some people and it can go off quite easily.
And it's his avatar.
No, that's my avatar. Yeah. Next we have 3 copies, we have 3 copies of Bulldozer Dobe. This is the grade 3 charging, if it's charging, GB1 it gains 10k. So 21 on its own, 26 with Stride Break. This is the main guy that you call. You hardly ever call Heaveries, to be honest, unless it's the only target. But this is the guy you call because he's of big numbers for literally just no cost at all. Next we go into the main card of the deck, or my husband, as I say. Next we run 4 Rising Nova, exceptional expertise, Rising Nova. 4 copies because we need the Stride Break. This guy is good. He's what made Spikes good and consistent again. The Legion Break Ride build is good, but it's not consistent. And you do not run Break Ride in this deck because it's awful. GB2, choose a card from hand, put it into Soul. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 card, call it to open a Rearguard. So this card is really good because GB2, if you have no hand at the start of your turn, you draw. And then you can't stride. You just use GB2's skill, stride for 6, stride for 11. Then you call Bulldozer Dobe, and that's a 26k attacker for just having 1 card in hand. For when you're top decking, that's really good as a skill. And then it has a stride skill of Counterblast 1, put a card from hand into the Soul. When your Vanguard attacks, you may pay the cost. When your Vanguard, which is a stride, attacks your Vanguard, pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 card, call it to an open Rearguard, and it gains 5k. So you just search your deck for a 5k, search your deck for any card for Counterblast and a card from hand, and it gains 5k. Which is very easy to do in this deck, and it's very good for just calling 1 card out, making it 26 because Dobe is too strong, and then you just swing for 26 without triggers. Very good skill. Next we run 2 of the rare Great Villainess Dampier Lily. When Fights Collection comes out, this is getting replaced for the new Fights Collection one because Getting Charged Active is better than this. But this is, I really thought that I'd be going into the triple rare Miracle Ace a lot more as my first stride, so then I could go into the G rare as my second stride. But what I do is I've actually been going into this girl first, and then going into her again, and then going into G rare, which I thought has been really surprising, but that's what I found with the best results. But this card's skill. When an attack hits the Vanguard, I choose up to 1 card from hand with a charge ability, call it to Rearguard, it gains 5k, and the effect of when this unit's put into deck, from Rearguard, draw a card. It's better than the Fights Collection one, the old Fights Collection one, because you draw a card, so you go +0 and -0, however you want to look at it. The extra draw is always nice, the extra 5k is nice. Dropping a card from hand is fine, especially when you draw one when it goes back to deck. It can catch a lot of people off guard because they're like, oh, it's not going to do well. You hit, and then you just call another card. They're not expecting it for another 24k attacker, which is always good. Then for Miracle Ace, this guy is most likely going to be dropped down to 2 when we have better options. But he's not bad. You can use him as your first stride. He doesn't really have an effect if you do. But GB3, this guy can end turns on his GB3. Basically, a Counterblast 1, unflip a copy of himself, act ability, once per turn. Until end of turn, this unit gets, when your Rearguard is put into your deck, choose up to 1 of your units and it gains 5k until end of turn. And Auto Vanguard, GB3, Soul Blast 2, when your Rearguard is put into your deck, pay the cost. If you do, choose 1 card from your hand, call it to open Rearguard. So it kills the hand quite a lot on your GB3 turn, I admit. But if you have Frog Raid on field, it keeps standing by calling when you call charge units, and because the card keeps getting put back to the bottom of the deck, Frog Raider can gain the 5k and then stand again with an extra 5k. Then if you do it again, that's another 10k to Frog Raider, so Frog Raider is now 17k booster, and that's why you run Frog Raider. This guy is most likely going to be dropped to 2 when we get better strides. The Fights Collection one, only going to run 2 or 3 of it, I'm not sure yet, but it really depends. But this guy, as soon as we get a replacement for him, he's going down to 2 at least for the GB3. Next we run 1 copy of the old Fights Collection one. I'm not going to lie, I mainly use him as an unflip for the G-Rare, but he is there as an option in case I had to G-assist and got rid of her, or if I don't think she's worth it at the moment, if I want to call from deck instead of from hand, if I don't have any charge units. But he's mainly there just so I can unflip him for the G-Rare ability. Next, the G-Rare, Great Villain Dirty Picario. GB3, Counterblast 2, unflip a copy of himself, choose a card from G-Zone, turn it face up, and put a card from hand into the Soul. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, pay the cost. If you do, search for up to 1 card from your deck. For each face-up card in your G-Zone, call the cards that were searched, open to separate rear guards, and shuffle your deck. So basically, if you've gone to Dampier Lady twice before, and you call her, and then you unflip him, you get to call 3. But then, so you get to call 3 for free. So you get to pretty much search a field. If you've gone into Miracle Ace and her, then you unflip for the skill, you get to call 4. So it's really, really, really good, and you want to run it. So this has been the Spike deck profile. Make sure you like, favourite, subscribe. Make sure you watch us on Twitter, at Team GHQ YouTube, and follow the Facebook group, Team GHQ. And as always, happy gaming.